right. So, welcome back to my channel. And let's get right into the news, which isn't a lot today. This was a slow news day. Let's see. Let's start with world news. Before we start, if there is any news item that I mentioned that you want more details about than what I give, or if you have an item that you want me to talk about, just let me know in the comments below. I just go with my initial reaction to things based on these summaries. So if you and certain things I will want to go into deeper depth, but if there's something that catches your attention, just let me know. All right, so let's start with world news as usual. Russia launched a rush-hour barrage of missiles, oh Lord, towards Ukraine, killing at least one person the day after Kyiv secured Western pledges of dozens of modern battlefield tanks to try to push back the Russian invasion. Because of course they did. You know, the West does something and Russians stomp their feet and have a temper tantrum. Unfortunately, in their case, a temper tantrum leads to destruction and potential loss of life because they're children. And I think I'm insulting children. Thousands of Australians marked the country's National Day celebrations with rallies in support of Indigenous people, many of whom described the anniversary of the day a British fleet sailed into Sydney Harbour as Invasion Day. Which is fair. My understanding is that their Australia Day is similar to our Columbus Day in the States, in that white men came in and decided, because they happened to have white skin and happen to be Christian, that the people who are already living there don't count, and proceeded to treat said people like shit. And in the case of Australia, Indigenous peoples aren't even mentioned in their constitution. Which, granted, that's even worse than the U.S. Constitution, but not by much. I think there might be a mention. Black people are definitely mentioned a lot more than Indigenous people in this country, but I'm thinking now. I'm pretty sure they're mentioned somewhere. Not quite sure where. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're mentioned, but yeah, not a good look. And a lot of people in this country celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day as opposed to Columbus Day because of the same thing. You know, there were perfectly good people living here, and then white people came and decided, oh, this place is totally uninhabited because, you know, unless you look like me, you're not a person. So, yeah. Totally get why it's called Invasion Day by some people in Australia. Alright. Let's see here. What else do we have? Israeli commandos killed 9 Palestinians, including an elderly woman, and wounded 12 others during clashes with gunmen in a flashpoint town in the occupied West Bank. So, unfortunately, same old, same old. Now, you know, at this point, I don't care if who started it. Unless you're going after actual terrorists, I'm just not going to entertain the possibility that This isn't fucked up. All right. Spanish authorities said that they were investigating what they called a possible terrorist incident after a machete-wielding man attacked several people at two churches in the southern port city of El Garcia, I forget it. Algeciras. Ugh. Killing at least one person, which I found out was the caretaker of the church. Now, they also have the attacker in custody, and apparently he's Moroccan. So, yeah, the racists are going to have a field day with this one. So, yeah, definitely a terrorist attack. People said that they couldn't understand what he was saying, so I can only imagine it wasn't Allahu Akbar, because I'm sure at this point everyone knows that phrase. So God knows what he was saying, but maybe it wasn't an Islam thing, but it's not looking that good. All right. Ooh. All right. Let's see. Let's see. European Union migration ministers meet today to discuss visa restrictions and better coordination inside the bloc to be able to send more people with no right to asylum in Europe back to their home countries. Okay. So now the U.S. news. Ugh, what is with my stomach? A 66-year-old immigrant farm worker was formally charged with premeditated murder in the fatal shooting of 7 co-workers near San Francisco, the second of 2 gun rampages in California in recent days, which 18 people were killed. So that second incident was at Half Moon, and the 2 different migrant farms, which were mushroom farms, which this person worked at one of them, and apparently he had a dispute with another coworker. Now, why he went to another migrant farm, I don't know. I guess it's possible that he's worked at both at certain points. I don't know. But yeah, at least this one we can find out more about, as opposed to the first one, who we can just go by what people who knew him said about him. Because unless he actually left a trail, we're never going to know his motive. And apparently he was angry at the world. Which, yeah, a lot of people are angry at the world. You don't shoot it up. So, yeah. And someone did try to imply that he was mentally ill, which I think is such a cop-out. Plenty of mentally ill people don't go shooting up a place. They might have a hard time expressing their frustration, but they don't normally go shooting up a place either. So, yeah. Alright. So, Meta Platforms said it will reinstate former President Donald Trump's Facebook and Instagram accounts in the coming weeks following a 2-year suspension after the deadly Capitol Hill riot on January 6, 2021. And Trump, being Trump, went on Truth Social and said that hopefully this reinstatement is permanent and no more bans, because that should never happen to a sitting president. You're not the fucking king. You're not God. You're not an authoritarian. You might want to be, but you're not. You're not. The, you're not a dictator. You're you can't dictate to other people how they treat you just because of who you are. Um so yeah, and who knows if he's actually going to go back on Facebook, because he's technically been reinstated to Twitter and he still hasn't shown his face on it. So, and there have been rumors as to why he hasn't, but whatever the case, he hasn't returned to Twitter, so who knows if he'll return to Facebook. He seems more happy about the Facebook thing, though. So, who knows? Um, let's see what else. President Joe Biden will use a speech at a steamfitters union hall today to launch an attack against Republicans who control the House of Representatives, saying that some of their proposals are dangerous for the U.S. economy. Yeah, like refusing to hike up the debt limit. Yeah, that policies like that. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, yeah. That's the one thing I like about him. He doesn't mince words. He has no fucks to give, and he will tell the Republicans exactly what he thinks of them. And you know, it might not be politically expedient, but it's the truth. Which shows you how much we've, I guess, descended, because the big deal was Hillary calling half of Trump supporters deplorables, which they have, even though they lost their shit, they have since proven in spades that Hillary was right. All the while having foul outrage over being called deplorable. Yeah, if you think that she was talking about you, then she probably was, and you're doing nothing to change people's mind about it. All right. So, moving on. The number of migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela caught crossing the U.S.-Mexico border dropped off dramatically from December to January following new rules that expel them back to Mexico, the Department of Homeland Security said. But if you talk to Republicans, it's a madhouse. Actually, if you talk to the media, it's a madhouse. So, there's that. All right. Because, there's all these horrible people trying to get in, as opposed to this, which is reality. Okay, now this is horribly disturbing. Authorities at a Virginia school were warned 3 times that a first grader had a gun before he shot and wounded his teacher, her lawyer said on Wednesday, while the school board voted to oust the superintendent. Which is good, because what the hell? You're telling administration that a kid has a gun, and they're told things like, oh, he has small pockets, he couldn't possibly have a gun. Have you seen the size of guns? I realize that most shootings take place with AR-15s, and because it's a rifle, it's a big gun, and you can't fit that in a pocket. But no, you don't need to have a big rifle in order to have a gun. Handguns are a thing. So apparently his parents are saying, the boy's parents are saying that he has a disability, and that they need to be in class with him, and that this week, at the week of the shooting, that neither of them were there. which makes you wonder, why not? If you have to make these accommodations to keep your child safe, or as it turns out, keep everybody else safe, why the hell were you not with him that week? I mean, if he needs you guys with him constantly so badly. So that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, how the hell did he get the gun to begin with? The mother says that she has no idea how he could have gotten a hold of the gun because the gun was secure. Obviously not, because he got it. So yeah, there's all sorts of adults who totally failed the system here and failed that teacher, because apparently 4 separate incidents of people telling someone that the kid has a gun. I mean, I'm shocked as well that it was a 6-year-old. You wouldn't think that a 6-year-old would think to shoot someone for real. But if someone says there's a gun, you look into it. I mean, if it turns out it's a Nerf gun, great. All you did was be vigilant. As long as you don't, shoot the kid first for having a Nerf gun. But, check to see the gun. Oh, it's a Nerf gun. Okay. There's no harm here. Fine. But do something. Why do you have to be told so many times that there's a gun? And I mean, so the teacher is now suing the school district, as well she should, because, and I'm not a sue happy person, but this makes sense, because she could have been saved this harm if people just took the warning seriously. So, let's see what else we have here. All right. The chief executive of Toyota will step down as head of the company his grandfather founded. The Japanese automaker said, handing over to the boss of its luxury car unit. Oh God, what is with this bad English? As it struggles to meet the shift to electric vehicles. So, alrighty. So I guess Toyota's having issues, if that's what I'm reading. Alright. Tesla's aggressive price cuts have ignited demand for its electric vehicles. Chief Executive Elon Musk said, playing down concerns that a weak economy would throttle buyers' interest. Yeah, this is the same guy who we just found out was so convinced that he had the funding to go private that he convinced his shareholders, which then lost millions. Now, do I feel bad for the shareholders? If you can afford to lose millions, you're probably pretty well off, and this is probably not hurting you. But at the same time, it doesn't make him very trustworthy. Of course, considering what he's doing to Twitter, yeah. So, no, I don't believe him that this is happening. I mean, maybe it is, because they probably cut the price so low that they might not actually be making money anymore at this point, but so I guess it's possible. However, like I said, don't trust him. Let's see. IBM announced 3,900 layoffs as part of some asset divestments. Oh my lord. And missed its annual cash target, dampening cheer and beating revenue expectations in the fourth quarter. So yeah. So they're apparently they're not doing as well as they thought they were. Let's see if there's anything else by company I've heard of. All right, Nokia beat quarterly operating profit expectations and forecast higher 2023 sales as the Finnish telecom equipment maker said it has been able to gain market share, benefiting from 5G rollout in countries such as India. Okay? Let's see. And it looks like that is all I have for today. Let me just, yep, that is all I have for today. So, again, if there's any item that you want more in depth or something that happened yesterday that you're shocked that I didn't mention or that I just simply forgot to mention, by all means, let me know in the comments and I will do a video about it. So, I will see you guys tomorrow.